is Leah Katung Babatunde, and of course, this is Top Talk, Compliments of the Season. I am being joined in this particular edition by Dr. Joseph Ameh Friday. He is a senior lecturer with the King's College British American Institute and has also been recently appointed administrator of the same institution for the Abuja City Center. He is an accomplished author and, to his credit, has published a number of books and publications. It's nice to have you join me for this conversation. I'm told you're actually a double professor.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Nice to have you on the program.
Yeah, good day. Compliment of the season.
Yeah, wish you same.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'm curious, really, for a young man like you to have dual professorship. How did you achieve that?
Well, thank you. First, I want to appreciate God Almighty for making this possible, because without God, it wouldn't have been possible. I'm the son of a peasant farmer. In fact, I was like a rejected stone, but that has now become the cornerstone. You see, as I navigate through life strategically and purposefully, especially in the academics, I've seen some erudite scholars that have made some quintessential impact in the humanity. The likes of a Nobel laureate like Professor Wallace Shoyinka, Anisha Bey, and Bishop David Oyedepo, who is my spiritual father in the Lord. I drawn some inspiration from their lives, from their books, and that helps me to move forward in life. You know, education has been seen as a panacea for everyone who desires to be great in life. Available statistics shows that 32% of Nigerian population out of over 250 million are literate, meaning that 68% are still illiterate, considering the costly nature of education and the difficulties involved in pursuing it. So those that went through education had gotten an opportunity that placed them above those that have not been to the walls of school at all. They are now living above poverty level. For instance, some persons who are governors, presidents, senators, even directors in places of high repute today had acquired one training or skill, the other, that have catapulted them to where they are today. Like myself, I was a nobody, but by the vessel of my aspiration to become somebody, especially in the academics, I am who I am today by the grace of God Almighty. So I thank God for that privilege.
Okay. I also see that both qualifications are not from Nigerian universities. Did you lose faith in our universities, or something pushed you out there?
Yeah, as I earlier said, that when I navigate through life strategically and purposefully, I started my academic pursuit with the Federal Polytechnic Ida. I studied surveying and geoinformatics at ND and HND level. After which I proceeded to the Obafemi Awolowo University to undergo my PGD program. During my service in NNPC, I was already undergoing my postgraduate diploma program, and some of my corporate colleagues were like, boy, you just graduated and you're just pursuing school instead of looking for money. I said, don't worry. So the small allowance that government was paying us, the 9,700 naira, I utilized it. So before we finished our service, I was already done with my postgraduate, and I put in for a professional exams, Nigerian Institute of Management. So in the course of writing the exam, I saw an advert for a master degree program in Ladoke Akitona University. I put in again, and that was how I obtained my master's in human resource management. So, and in my quest to get more knowledge, I came across Hibdet University, Cameroon. I enrolled for an MSc there, from where I obtained my MSc and PhD at the same time. Then while I was doing that, I got an opportunity with the British American Open University. I equally put in, studied different courses. So as I'm talking to you now, I'm undergoing a research in geodesy. right now in geodesy. So that is how far I have gone.
I think you need to explain this research.
Okay.
Yes, the one you're undergoing now.
Okay, the one I'm undergoing now is my core field. You know, survey is anything that is on, above, and beneath the earth's surface. So in order to do an effective delineation in Nigeria and in the world at large, there's a need for you to learn the modern technological know-how. So that is what drives me to study and carry out more research in geodesy, so that I'll become an authority to guide other people in the modern way of surveying.
Okay.
Yes.
And I will step back and hold you on these thoughts now. You've worked in the public sector. You mentioned it during your service.
Yes.
Yes, that's the only time you worked in the public sector.
Yeah, during my service as one of those, I served in NNPC. I'm one of those who champion and pioneer the Petroleum Corpus Digest, a monthly publication of the corpus in the petroleum industry. And we published over 25 articles in the course of the service.
Okay.
That was the only time I had experience in the
public sector.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm going to ask you this question, of course, because you have managerial skills.
Yes.
And that question will be that it is going to mean that you've navigated across the public and private sectors.
Yes.
And one will wonder, really, let's take for instance, in engineering, we have public works, we have all manner of engineers, including petroleum engineers in the NNPC where you served. And you'll find that in most instances, the jobs that the average citizen would think these people are being paid to do, are being contracted to outsiders to do, is that normal? That's one. Secondly, is that not affecting the brain? Is that not a brain drain kind of syndrome?
Yes, that is one of the challenges we have in this country. You see, in Nigeria, there are certain deadly antediluvian policies that are repugnant to the nation's antiquity, propounded in the age of technology and artificial intelligence by some tetrademalions who find themselves into the stage, putting to norms the powerful brains and philosophers in this country with a monotonous mindset, deliberately ignoring the modern way of education. You see, Nigerians are endowed with resources. Until you utilize them, they can never activate that potential that God has given to them. So we are blessed, but you know, the political body, as far as I know, are diagonally antagonistic to the way of education, and that is why most of our politicians do not believe that we the Nigerians could do well in some of these sectors, like the engineering sector. For instance, as we're driving to this place, there's a particular place we're navigating, and I looked at the job done there. Each time I get to that spot, I say, this is wrong construction, this is big construction error. But it was contracted to foreigners. But there was an error. Cars were finding it very difficult to navigate through a particular route. So until you engage the Nigerian engineers, Nigerian brain, Nigerians are doing well out there in the United States of America and several other countries of the world. Nigerians are doing well. But why did we believe in our own? So that is one of the challenges we have, and I hope that our government will look inward and see to it that we have some potentials in this country and that they need to be encouraged to do better.
So if you're in an opportunity, or if you're opportuned rather, to suggest ways that we can actually use homegrown solutions, and I guess it's going to come at a reduced cost to the nation and or to any state, I mean to any level at all of government, what will be those advices you will be giving?
Yes, my advice is education and education. Education is the only solution to Nigerian problem. Government should, as a matter of priority, grant full autonomy to the education sector, especially the educational institution. So by doing that, we encourage the teachers, we encourage those that are coming up to put in their best. And they need to provide the necessary infrastructure that is needed to move this country forward. Like, for instance, in schools, if you don't have adequate infrastructure, you don't expect the student to do their best. When there's a political interference, especially in selection of maybe staff selection and the rest of it, it affects. If teacher salaries or worker salaries are not paid as at when due, it encourages corruption. So these are the things I encourage the government to, as a matter of priority, pay attention to it. And by doing that, we encourage home-based professionals to bring in their best.
Okay. I'll ask you this question about the institution you represent, that is the British American Open University, California, Abuja Study Center. Do you have other study centers in Nigeria?
Yes, in Nasarawa.
Nasarawa State.
Yes.
So I'll ask the question that every Nigerian will want to ask. I'm sure you'll be asked, are you NUC verified and certified?
Yeah, British American Open University of California and British American Institute is registered with the Federal Ministry of Education. It's an open university. Mm-hmm. So, and now we are affiliated with the iconic university in Nigeria and other universities that are trying to sign partnership with us.
So what are you offering that is different from what other universities are offering?
Yeah, one of the major things we're offering is encouraging Nigerians to partake in innovation. Innovations and more innovations. You see, the idea of looking for jobs here and there, or looking for an outsider to come and get job done here without looking inside, is a very big problem. So we need to carry out a kind of research to find out what our youth can do better. There are some of our youth, most of our youth are endowed with a lot of resources, as I told you. Until you bring them on board, that those potentials can never be activated. There are some of them that are so creative, especially that are working at the foreign countries now. So most of them are best brain from Nigeria. So if we utilize them, we encourage more of innovations, especially practical. Whatever you are doing, we encourage people to go fully into practical. Think about those things that you can do differently. Thinking out of the box.
Okay, I'm thinking outside the box. A lot of people would also say that it is not about the research. A lot of research has been carried out over time, but it's the marketability of these researches. I mean, we have multiples of results just gathering dust in shelves across institutions around Nigeria. How do we make them market worthy?
Well, we can make them market worthy by, I still bring this down to the government. When there's lack of political will, it affects everything we're talking about. So our government must show interest in encouraging those research work to bring them to limelight. So if there's no political will, there's no way we can get anywhere. So the aspect of political will cannot be rolled out. It's one of the challenges we have.
Is that why we don't see multinationals in this country owned by Nigerians now, and our Nigerian big men put money into local research? Because I mean, out there we see businessmen from Nigeria, for instance, financing institutions that are not Nigerian institutions, but we don't get the same feel here. Is that why?
Yeah, you're right.
So why are our institutions not so attractive to our business community?
The government has to make them attractive. Once I told you there are some delusive policies that are not favorable to the youth, businesses and teachers in this country. I told you that even in some institutions you see that staff salaries and remunerations are not even paid, and some persons are comfortable. See others suffering while they sit and happy with their family. So it's a very big problem. So government must show a political will. in all this sector for it to work.
Okay, so when we say government now, we're having 3 levels of government, and that is fully identified from the local to the state and the federal. We also have these institutions being manned by people, the administrators of these institutions. So if you're going to give a professional look at it, what is the place of leadership from the very bottom to the top?
Bringing us to leadership. Another major challenges we are having is leadership problem. And that is why one of the books I wrote is Leadership Challenges and the Need for Grassroots Mobilization in Nigeria. You see, every good and bad leaders today emanate from a family. So we must start from that level, especially from the grassroots level, by sensitizing the people, telling them about the right thing to do, how to shun corruption, how to imbibe the good way that God has given to us as humans. So by doing that, we will cultivate, we remove all these unnecessary embargoes that is affecting what we are talking about today. So from the grassroots level, we need to sensitize the people and let them know that whatever you are doing, you must put in your best. Especially from the leadership start from the family level.
I'm going to hold you on this now because I'm told we need to go on break, and so we'll be back just in a moment.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and as we proceed on the home stretch, we'll be asking some significant environmental questions to our professor in-house. And Professor, you told me about a research you were carrying on earlier, and so I want to take you back on that. Really, what do you make of the Nigerian space regarding surveys? We have a lot of issues there, and you would agree. For starters, is the collapsing of buildings all over the place. Is that sector of the built industry, is it something that is properly regulated?
Yeah, the Nigerian space technology is properly regulated. I think during Obasanjo, he encouraged some best brain in Nigeria who went on research, and they came up with a lot of ideas that is helping the country now. But as I've always told people that whatever idea you bring on board, you need to sustain it. So sustainability is very, very important. So sustainability and training and retraining is equally important. So there's a need for us to train those professionals and to retrain them and to get more professionals to come on board in order to sustain that which we have done. So you can see China had made some great impact, especially when it has to do with space technology in the aspect of service remote sensing technology, whereby you carry out pre-marking and post-marking. So but I don't see aircraft flying to take some of those pre-marking and post-marking to assess some of those environmental issues that we're talking about. Maybe they do that once in a while. So I think I encourage the institution to put more effort in that.
Okay, is it about the politicization of these institutions now, or it's just inefficiency in your view? Which is the problem here?
Yeah, the political interference is one side, and the inefficiency is also in the other side. Because if those who acquire this knowledge are not capable to deliver those things that they learn, is also a problem. So it's also a problem that cannot be thrown aside. So whatever you are doing, you must know it and you must do it very well.
Okay, knowing it and doing it very well. I would really love you to explain that, because we need to have an understanding why these things matter.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about applications here.
Yes.
You learn something computer, for instance, there's a need for you to apply it in practical terms, right? So once the application is failing, then the person who acquired this knowledge had to go back to the drawing board and find out why is this thing failing. So I think the onus is on the part of those professionals to call themselves to order and say, why is this thing not working? Why is the space technology having issues? Then go back to the drawing board and re-strategize. I think they will get it.
But we've also not seen serious measures taken against failure. Why?
Well, corruption in the system, because these days, if you check out very well, some people, instead of focusing on their job description, all they think about is how to siphon money, how to make ends meet for their family, how to create wealth for their family, running away from the norms. So it's also a problem, a very big problem.
This job description you just mentioned is something that is all over the place, and you begin to wonder. You pick this agency, you pick that department, you look at their mandate. Are they living up to it? In most instances, you find that they are moving outside these mandates given to them and doing other things. So one will now begin to ask, where is the place of check and balance?
If one is on a race and he or she looks back, he is no longer worthy of that race. Once you get distracted, you are focused and you get distracted, you cannot get the best in out of whatever you are doing. So it's distraction. They allow themselves to be distracted. So they must remain focused on the assignment. So when we remain focused on the assignment, we will deliver good results. But when we allow ourselves to be distracted by one or two things, maybe money or whatever, but money is essential, but you have to, for instance, you are a professional, you are doing a professional job. You keep money aside and you want to deliver and ensure that at the end you deliver quality result. That is your focus, that is your target, and that is what should be our drive as a people first, before money and any other distractions. Some persons will say, is it my father's job? I'll just do my best and let go, you know. So once that attitude sets in, it becomes a problem. You cannot get the best out of it.
Does this have to do with motivation?
Yeah, and again, yeah, motivation too is also a factor. Yeah, motivating people to get their best is okay, but you know, every Nigerian, no matter how you motivate them, those that have this corrupt tendency still want to have their way. Do you understand? I encourage motivation. It's a very good way of encouraging people to put in their best. But once you are called out for an assignment, you just have to do it. It is what you have signed. You are doing it to affect humanity, not for personal gain or interest.
Are we doing enough to show patriotism to our country?
Yeah, we are doing our best, and we encourage our people to put in their best to do more for our country.
Because the argument there will be, if we are putting country first, should we be having these amounts of complaints coming in from citizens?
Thank you. So that is the challenge. So we must, as a matter of priority, put our country first. This is the only country, in fact, I call Nigeria my Jerusalem. So I don't have any other country to run to. So I have to put in my best. Whatever assignment given to me, I do with the whole of my heart. Just as the Bible says, thou shalt love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, spirit, and body. So whatever you are doing, you put in your soul, spirit, and body, and God will bless you. Aside the secular reward that you get from the government. Okay,
you made mention earlier of your mentors, and so perhaps if you're going to tell me or give me a good look at the issue of mentorship, why it's necessary in every workplace and every aspect of life for one to have a mentor and be a mentor to others.
Yes. As I said, for instance, my father in the Lord, Bishop David Oyedepo, is an author, a writer, is a great man. I drawn a lot of inspiration from his books. I read most of his books, and that inspires me. In fact, in one of the books he wrote, he said, whatever you desire to be in life, you have to put in your best to get there. So my aspiration is to become a professor, and I have been working very hard, and I've done everything possible to make sure I get to that level. Academically, professionally, I've done my best. So whatever you're doing in life, you have to look at someone who has done well, who has laid a very good landmark in the shifting sands of time. Then that becomes your beacon for you to succeed in life.
How about mentoring others?
Yeah, and you too have to mentor others. It's very, very important to mentor others, to become an example, live an exemplary life for people to look up to you, to want to be like you. That is, you must live a good life, that whatever you are doing is worth emulating, by showing people the positive aspect of life, not the negative aspect of life. It's very important.
So how do we get to invest more in showing people what to do? I'm asking this question because you find a lot of young persons who have never had anyone to really point them and say, this is what you're supposed to do, that's where you're supposed to go. So you just keep groping in the dark until you eventually make your mistakes and correct them. All this has caught up with you.
Yeah, that area brings me to guidance and counseling, and that is why we have them in most of our institutions. There's a need for guidance and counselors, so to guide people so that they will not derail from the norms in life. So counseling is very, very important. There's a need for you to counsel people. There are some people that may not have the privilege of reaching out to you. Once God has laid in your heart for you to be to help them, you reach out to them and counsel them. For instance, a child is misbehaving. He will pass in and you see, because it's not your child, it's not going to correct that child. You've not helped that child. You draw the child close to yourself and counsel the child that what you're doing is wrong. Do this way and it becomes okay. So that child can never forget in life. And that is why they say good advice is a second mother of a child.
So at what age should the person begin to look and say, this is what I want to be in future?
My children, for instance, at age 5, they already desired to become somebody in life. They're already telling me age 5, age 7, they already, in fact, in my house I have a very big photograph that I made during their activities in school, what they desire to be in life. Some said I want to be a doctor, I said I want to be a lawyer, and they're working towards it. I'm activating. In fact, in my on my birthday, 40th birthday, I think 3 of my children, they told me, said, Daddy, don't worry, you are a writer, we are going to speak for you. So they spoke for me, and it was wonderful. In fact, I was amazed. In fact, during the first book launch, they almost collect one of my sons from me. You understand? They say, you want to be a doctor, and I saw the potentials in him, and we're encouraging him, to be that. And that is why they say the white is a wizard. I don't know how they describe them, but their own wizard helps to build, not to destroy, because they catch them young.
Yes. So I'm asking these questions actually because you find that even today, parents influence what the future of the kids will look like, and the child is saying, I want to be X, but the father and mother say, no, you have to be Z. What does that do to the development of the child?
The right of the child must be respected. You can guide the child as a parent, but do not force your will on that child. Allow the child to grow. Along the line, you'll find his or her way. They'll find their ways. So you must encourage them, you guide them into what they want to do, because if you force them to do a particular thing, in the end, they may turn out to become something else.
So for those who discover themselves late, you discovered yourself early.
Yes.
But we have a whole lot out there that discover themselves late. What should they do?
Yeah, it is not too late. They can still make it if they work hard. So everything boils down to hard work. That I've always told my children that there is no shortcut to success. So whatever you do in life, it's born out of hard work. You need to work it out, work your salvation out, work out your destiny, and the future will be bright for you.
So we're seeing a lot of shortcuts now. There's a whole lot out there that want to make it just right now and do not care about how they get there and who is hurt in the process. What does that do to the psyche of the country?
It is not good for the country. That is what, I'm a Christian. That is what St. Paul called egoistic hedonism of the present moment, immediate pleasure. And that is most reason why most people don't put in their best in whatever they are doing, because they are after the immediate pleasure that they want to derive. So it's not good for the country, and the country will not encourage that.
So as we round up now, I would want to take your parting shots, and it will be in summary what you feel about the Nigerian education system and how we can make it not only better but to work for everyone irrespective of who you are.
Thank you. You see, Nigeria is one of the densely populated black nations in the whole world, and is a home of the second home for the film industry. Nigerians are vivacious for their energy responsive to whatever they are doing. So we must encourage our youth. We must encourage our youth by supporting them to become what God has made them to be. You see, the destinies of some young men are merchandised by some selfish political careers, and which is not good. So we must help them to go back to school. We must encourage them and support them. And that is why I said earlier that government must, as a matter of priority, stop paying lip service and grant full autonomy to educational institutions in Nigeria, and encouraging prompt payment of staff salaries. When you pay staff salary as at when due, you will reduce corruption in the society, and interference in staff selection process by government should be a thing of the past. Education institutions should be allowed to select their staff, especially for promotion and the rest. So all those things I feel that encourage corruption. So I think by doing that, Nigeria will be great, and will become a pride of play in the Committee of Nations.
So what's your take on this question of federal character?
Yes, federal character has to be respected because it has been grossly abused. So we encourage the government to respect the federal character and ensure that the best brain are given the opportunity to serve the nation.
I must sincerely thank you, Professor, for making our time for this conversation.
It's my pleasure.
And I wish you more writing years ahead.
Thank you, thank you.
And it is on this note that we end this episode. Of course, we'll be back next week with another one. My name is Leah, Katung, and as always, I say God bless Nigeria, and of course, enjoy the holidays.
Thank you.